You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest, attorney Martha Jo Patterson, elderlawmom.com. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Well, I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money. I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we're celebrating today. So yesterday, if you were listening to us, thank you. We appreciate you. We know you have other things you could be doing. But if you were listening to us, it was all about dessert. Today, well, it's breakfast time for the most part. National Flapjack Day. Is there anything different between flapjack and a pancake? I think they're the same thing. Maybe it's just a part of the country where you have flapjacks or pancakes. I don't know. Let's see. National Cereal Day. What is your favorite cereal? Put it in the chat. If you're watching us live, put it in there. If you're watching a replay, put it in there so we know. Lucky Charms, I would say. Cocoa Puffs. Remember those commercials for Cocoa Puffs? You have a favorite cereal?
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I love Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah. I think I've got about 20 pounds on me just from cereal. My kids love Life cereal. They'll even snack on it. Josh, your kids like cereals? Are they cereal eater? Okay. Yeah. I wonder sometimes, is it the kids that like the cereal or is it the parents that like the cereal because it's an easy breakfast to make? Maybe 50-50. Okay. We can go back to dinner time, though, because it is National Crown Roast of Pork Day as well. And that looks pretty good.
Now I'm getting hungry.
Now, exactly. So, and for those of us that are on radio, we really appreciate this is a day that we celebrate on radio a lot because it's National Be Heard Day. Now, thankfully, my wife does not listen to this broadcast because otherwise I would be in trouble. Yeah, she tells me I don't listen at all. I find it really odd. Why would you ever start a sentence with, why don't you listen to me? Maybe there was something she was saying before that. I don't know because I wasn't listening. Let's take a look at the markets today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 148 points. S&P 500 is up 48. The NASDAQ is up 220 points. Oil down 28 cents a barrel. We like that idea of having oil down a little bit, although we are in the formerly golden state, so we probably won't see our gas prices drop at all, but oil is down. Be interesting to see what the president has to say about oil prices later this afternoon or this evening. But we'll talk about that in just a second. Speaking of oil, let's look at gasoline. California, $4.87 is the average throughout the state. $4.10 for Josh over there in Nevada. Take a half a dollar off of that. These are AAA rates, and they are the statewide average. So I guess being that Nevada has, 3 cities or something like that are, where they've got a big population centers. The rest of it's out there in the rural areas, and they get a lot more money out there. I told you about my experience at Prim, where it was over $2 a gallon more than when I went into the city. So throw that out there. And yes, Arian's paying. Their gas prices did go up. My loan partner, assistant, Arian, $2.94 a gallon. $2.94 is what they're paying there.
So
in
sad.
yeah, isn't that sad?
It is so sad. You know.
Yeah, she's in Mississippi. So is it sad that she's in Mississippi or sad
Yeah.
that their gas prices?
Well, sad, really sad that she's in Mississippi, but
That's
the
what she's-
gas prices. I mean, really. I mean, ours are only what $5 a gallon, and they're paying.
Yeah, $4.87 against $2.93.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
start there.
But it is, it's kind of interesting watching right now because if you've been watching any of the election results, so it's fascinating watching this new Proposition 1 in California. And, when you listen to the commercials all sound really good. I think we've got to the point now that we don't believe anything that's in any of these commercials. And now maybe we're finally wising up in the state of California. I don't know, but maybe we're wising up. Believe it or not, Prop 1 is only leading by about 23,000 votes. And I never saw one commercial, one anything pushing the negative of Proposition 1. So why is it only leading by 23,000 votes? Well, it's another $6 billion bond issue. Maybe the people of California are realizing bonds have to be paid back, and we've got a $70 billion deficit. And that doesn't count the deficit I told you about yesterday that nobody's talking about. Nobody. I'm the only one that's talking about this. Tell me one other place, please, that's talking about this. Do you realize that California is probably on the hook right now, potentially, for $1 trillion liability? Trillion. What is it? Well, have you tried getting homeowners insurance in California? Very, very difficult. I got a call just this morning, or text this morning, looking about a condominium complex that is underinsured. They can't afford their insurance. The condominium complex is worth $40 million, and their budget only allows for $10 million. They cannot afford to pay for the insurance. Where did that insurance go to? Homeowners that the insurance companies won't take on. Where do they go? Well, they go to the California Fair Plan. Well, what happens if we have a major disaster? Do you remember Lahaina last year? Maybe it was earlier. It was last year. Do you remember Napa a few years ago, Paradise, where the whole city was destroyed? I don't wish that on anybody. They're disasters. They're horrible. But if the state of California is covering this tab, and we do have one of those disasters or two of those disasters, the government right now is on the hook for it. The last number I saw, $1.3 trillion. If it happens, where's that money coming from? Yeah, so maybe the people of California are realizing there's not an endless supply of money. Now, the items that they talked about, if they're legit, because we've heard so many lies coming out of Sacramento over the years, where they talk about that it's for the homeless, it's for the veterans. Anytime you want to get a deal, a bond measure or a proposition passed in California, watch every single one of them. They're either for children or they're for the elderly. Who's going to vote against children and the elderly? Nobody. But then when you look at the details of the bond, is a bond for the children or for the elderly? No. That's just the camouflage. Here it's $6 billion. Find someplace in the budget, you guys up in Sacramento, where you can cut the budget. I know that's a dirty word. Cut the budget and cover these issues. So we deal with our homeless population. We deal with our mentally ill. We deal with our veterans. They all deserve it. I'm going to get off my soapbox now. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, the benefits of downsizing when you retire. How about keeping your property titled properly? We're going to talk about that. No, that doesn't mean just give it to your kids while you're alive. That's not titling it properly in most instances, but I'm not going to give you legal advice. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down, sure. we might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Every day at this time, OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not provide us APR, points paid or points received. They give us the actual locked rates. Yesterday's numbers, conforming loans, they were down a bit, 6.778. Jumbo loans, they were up 7.262. FHA loans, they were up 6.625. USDA loans, rural areas, generally no down payment, 6.527. And the best loan on the market. Got to earn this one. You don't just get to request it. This is the 30-year VA loan, 6.342. That was down. Love seeing the VA loan go down. And as I remind you on a frequent basis, we are the number one team, Homes for Heroes in America. Our team, number one in America, Homes for Heroes. And that's for our military, first responders, our teachers, or educators, because it's not just teachers, educators and nurses. So make sure that you're looking in on those folks. What is the, if you want our commentary each day on the market, rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. We do send that out as early as the data will allow, rsrmarketminute.com. Let's see what's going on today in the markets. The S&P 500 now is up 48.5 points. The 10-year Treasury is up 1 basis point. Mortgage-backed securities are down 9 basis points. Means interest rates, when the bond goes down, rates go up. When the rates go up, when the bond goes up, rates go down. So it's right now the mortgage-backed securities up 9 basis points. Means interest rates are down just ever so slightly. But they have come down about 1/4 point in the last week or so. Why? Well, there's a lot going on right now. So first off, we've got Fed Chair Jerome Powell. He's testifying in front of the Senate today. Yesterday was the House of Representatives. Not a big event right now. His question and answer session did not reveal anything new. Just a reiteration that the Fed is done hiking and that they're going to begin cutting sometime this year. My projection, and it's just one person, and I don't have Nick Timmeros's inside information, July, November, and December. July, November, and December. Powell gave a nod to the jobs picture and said, reducing policy restraint too late or too little could unduly weaken economic activity and employment. This illustrates how important the jobs data is going forward. Unfortunately, we get the jobs report tomorrow, and it'll probably be wrong, just like it is all the time. So we'll also probably see revisions to the January number. Now, there were 3 million people who lost their jobs in January. That's just people that lost their job. They don't get a paycheck anymore. But then the Bureau of Labor Statistics did their revisions, their adjustments, seasonal adjustments in birth and death, and they added enough that we had a 353,000 job increase, even though 2.5 million people were no longer getting a paycheck. Figure that one out. I can't. But that's what we're going to see. Tomorrow they're going to come up with that report. Why are they coming up with that tomorrow? Well, it's strategic. The president's doing his State of the Union tonight. They wanted to make sure that got done before we get a jobs report. So maybe we'll get a fair report. Historically, regardless of party, the January report is always the highest revisions of any month of the year. Is it because the State of the Union comes out in February generally? Don't be a cynic like me. CoreLogic Equity Report. Equity rose 8.6% year over year through appreciation and amortization, which is significant. Many can likely benefit from a refinance to get rid of their mortgage insurance. Total amount of homes with negative equity fell 1.1% from the third to the fourth quarter and is down 15% year over year. 1.2 million homes, or 2.1% of mortgage properties, have negative equity, which translates to 1.2% of all properties. Very, very low. Initial jobless claims, which measures individuals filing for unemployment benefits for the very first time, remain stable at 217,000. Continuing claims of those that continue to receive benefits after their initial claim rose 8,000 to 1.906 million. This is the second highest number since November 2021 and shows that once workers are let go, it's challenging for them to get a new job. Now remember, get a lot of jobs being terminated in Silicon Valley. Average income, $160,000. If you're getting a $160,000 job with a 60% severance package, are you filing for unemployment benefits to get $500 a week? No, you're not going to. So those don't even get put into that. So we are going to get the big jobs report tomorrow. Market's expecting 200,000 job creation and for the unemployment rate to remain steady at 3.7%. Again, if you say that when they do their surveys and you call and you say, I'm not looking for a job anymore, well, you get taken off the rolls of unemployed. So that's what keeps that number steady. Not that you have a job, it's just you're not looking, so they don't figure that you're unemployed. Looking for clues, the ADP report showed there were 140,000 jobs created in February, but they only look at private payrolls. If we added 50,000 jobs for the government, it would put the BLS report around 190,000. Maybe we're a little closer than we've been in the past. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So one of my favorite topics, I love talking about how we help people minimize their tax liability legally. And we've got with us this morning Martha Jo Patterson. She is an attorney, not giving legal advice on the radio. If you want legal advice, call her, elderlawmom.com, elderlawmom.com. And that's what she does to support her family. So you can hire her, get all the legal advice you want. We're just trying to give you some education here and chat about things that are going on in the marketplace. Good morning, Martha Jo.
Good morning.
So one of the topics that I thought might be of benefit, because I see this a lot leading a lending team. You probably see it more in the world of probate.
Right.
Elders, or maybe not even elders, but people transferring title from themselves to their kids. Good idea, bad idea?
Horrible idea. Never, never, never do that. So if I transfer title to my kid, now people say it's for convenience. I've just given them my house. I just gave it to them. Now I gave them my house. Now they decide that they want to live there and kick me out. And guess what? Doesn't matter that I paid for the whole house. I paid off my whole
Martha Jo,
mortgage.
no kid's
They
going
can
to do
kick me
that.
out. Really? No kid ever does that? I wish all kids were perfect children. They never lied to their parents. They never stole from their parents. Sadly, the most likely person to steal your money is your own child. as
Wow,
a
really?
number. Yeah, really. That I mean, it is family that steals from family.
I'm not sure. I read a lot of these issues on various sites, and isn't there a trust that you can set up that basically you get to live in a property? You can sell your property to somebody, and you get to live there until your final days. Maybe I'm hallucinating, but
Well, it's not a trust. I can transfer my title and have a life estate.
a life estate. That's the word I was thinking about.
You can do that. Now, there's really downsides for both parties. Is once, I can live there during my lifetime, but I have given title away, and
Can I sell it, or is it just a matter of giving it?
it's a gift. So
Okay.
I give my property. It's subject to a life estate. So that means that my kids can't sell it if I need to go to a nursing home or I need to go to an assisted living and I'm incompetent. You can't undo that, which could be a kind of horrible. So we used to do that for Medicaid planning.
Okay. Now we're getting to a whole nother story, right? Medicaid planning.
Right. We used to do that a lot. And then we realized that what happened was when our elders got old, they would, we would they would keep the right to live in their house for their lifetime. And then they would get old and sick, and people stay an average of 3.5 years in a assisted living or nursing home. Well, then you're having to pay property taxes. Maybe you can rent it out, and that's great. That's a really better idea than selling it. But if you want to sell it now, you can't sell it because the person has the right to live there during their life. So this can cause havoc. People think it's a good idea, and that's not a good idea. So yes, we can do that, but it has to, how do you support the house when somebody is not living in it, when their paycheck is going to pay for their care and not for the taxes and the utilities in the house? People think that there's some magic program out there where you get to have the government pay for all your care and you're paying nothing. That does not exist anywhere.
Well, what's it? I don't know, and I don't know if this is something that you deal with at all, but they talk about, hear people worrying about some clawback or something like that. Is there a clawback where if the government pays for me to live in an assisted living property and I own a property, when I sell that property, I got to pay the government back or something like that?
Well, in California, and the government doesn't pay for assisted living.
Okay.
Our government only pays for those skilled nursing home cares. Those are the ones that look like hospitals.
That nobody wants to go to.
That nobody wants to go to, exactly. Those are the ones, some of them you wouldn't put your dog there, but that's what Medi-Cal will pay for. Now, there are people who I've helped get them, and they have to be in that level of care, and I'm fine with letting the government pay for that, but it's not the first option. That's what our government pays for, so they don't pay for that. But when they are paying for that, they have the right to claw it back if you have a probate. Now, if you don't, right now, as of 2017 in California, now the other 49 states, we are so liberal in California, it's ridiculous. But so the other 49 states have different rules. So it is only California. As of 2017, if you have probate, they can get the money back. If you don't have probate, they don't get their money back. So we want to avoid probate. So that typically is going to be, if you have a house, you're best to have a living trust to avoid probate. It is the most flexible way. I know this is self-serving because I'm an estate planning attorney, and that's how I make a living, is by doing living trusts for people. But it is the best way to avoid probate and have the flexibility to, avoid all the taxes possible, and also have the flexibility whether you live or you forget to die and have dementia and need to go to that assisted living, which may be private, which all of the ones for almost everybody on the show, unless your income is below $1,732 a month as a single person, you're not getting help from our government. So
wow. I want to talk to you more about this living trust versus probate when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio,
right,
discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. The benefits of downsizing when you retire. You know, they put that as a headline here, and I say the benefits of right-sizing when you retire. If you're taking a look at your expenses as you retire, saving money where you can has a lot of appeal. One long-standing popular way to do that is by right-sizing to a smaller home. When you think about cutting down on your spending, odds are you think of frequent purchases like groceries and other goods. But when you right-size your house, you often end up right-sizing the bills that come with it, like your mortgage payment, energy costs, and maintenance requirements. Realtor.com says, quote, a smaller home typically means lower bills and less upkeep. Then there's the potential windfall that comes from selling your larger home and buying something smaller, unquote. That windfall is thanks to your home equity. If you've been in your house for a while, odds are you've built up a considerable amount of equity, and that equity is something you can use to help you buy a home that better fits your needs today. Daniel Hunt, CFA at Morgan Stanley, explains, quote, home equity can be a significant source of wealth for retirees, often representing a large portion of their net worth. Retirement planning can be complex, but your home equity should not be overlooked, unquote. And when you're ready to use that equity to fuel your next move, and your real estate agent will be your guide through every step of the process. That includes setting the right price for your current house when you sell, finding the home that best fits your evolving needs, and understanding what you can afford at today's mortgage rate. What this means for you if you're thinking about downsizing, right-sizing, ask yourself these questions. Do the original reasons I bought my current house still stand, and have my needs changed since then? Do I really need and want the space I have right now, or could somewhere smaller be a better fit? What are my housing expenses right now, and how much do I want to try to save by right-sizing? Then meet with a real estate agent to get an answer to these questions. What are my options in the market right now? A local real estate agent can walk you through how much equity you have in your house and how it positions you to win when you right-size. And I'm going to share with you just a personal thing. And again, as Martha Jo said in the last segment, I'm saying this, it may sound self-serving, but it's for your best interest. Think about a reverse mortgage. I am a big fan of the reverse mortgage. My parents had it, and they were not destitute. They did not do it because they needed money. They did it because it made financial sense. But here's the issue that was not my parents' situation. You have a house, say it's worth $1 million here in Orange County. That would be less than the median home price. Say you've lived there for your lifetime and it's paid off. Well, what if you take $300,000, get a reverse mortgage, buy a $600,000 house, never have a mortgage payment? You have the remaining money to put into your estate, give it to your financial planner to invest wisely, and you're still going to be better off over time. So the bottom line here, want to save money in retirement? Consider right-sizing. It could really help you out. When you're ready, give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Again, real-time real estate segment brought to you by rsrmoney.com. Continue our conversation. Attorney Martha Jo Patterson is with us, not giving legal advice, educating us. And in the last segment, we talked about giving your house to your kids. Not a smart idea. Let's talk about better solutions and what we might be looking for here. So in the last segment, Martha Jo, you made a comment about a living trust versus probate. And you would know the stats better than me. My last numbers that I was told was that, you know, there's a small percentage, maybe 20% of the population has a living trust. And of that 20%, 80% of those are not funded properly.
That's true. So, probate is the process when you die. So it doesn't matter if you have a will. If you have more than about $186,000, your will goes to probate court.
Okay.
And I'm guaranteed a fee. And it's
You as the attorney.
As the attorney, I'm guaranteed my fee, and it's based on a mathematical formula. So
So it's not like if I go shopping around, it's going to be cheaper one place or more expensive another place. It's regulated, statutory.
It's a statutory fee, so I could charge more if the judge lets me, and they're not too generous in giving us more money. So the statutory fee for $1 million house, done the math, my fee is $23,000. Now your executor is entitled to that same $23,000. Now,
Wow. Okay.
so if the court only took $4,000 in fees and costs, you're at $50,000. Assuming your executor. Now, his executor doesn't have to take their fee. If it's your brother, they may not. But they may want their extra $23,000. They're entitled to it. They're guaranteed it.
They're doing the work.
They're doing the work. So now we're at $50,000. That's for your $1 million home. Now it's 1% more after that $1 million. So I just was at a chamber meeting, and the gal said in Yorba Linda, the average median price sold for $1.8 million. So now that would be an extra $8,000 fee for the lawyer who got that $1.8 million fee. And everybody thinks, well, all those rich people have their living trust. Jay Leno went to court because he didn't have a living trust and his wife has dementia, and now he's having to go to court to create it because she can't sign her name anymore. Jay Leno, how rich is he? I have no idea how rich he is, but he's really, really
I heard that
rich.
Prince died without having a trust.
Yeah, Prince didn't have a trust. I mean, all these rich people think they're going to have their living trust.
They're going to live forever, though.
But they're going to live forever. They don't think about it. They don't think about what happens when I die. People just.
Well, the irony is the irony of that whole thing is, we talk about living trusts on Ron Siegel Radio all the time, and people think that rich people are smart or entertainers are smart.
Right.
More often than not, no, they're not very smart. So when you're taking advice from them, maybe not. Sometimes, I don't know all of them, but they may not be the smartest people in the world to take advice from.
That's also true. But, what happens?
Well, contrast that before we go too far, Martha Jo.
Yeah.
The cost of probate for that $1 million property is roughly $50,000. We'll just call it 50,000 just for round numbers.
Right.
Is a living trust going to cost me more or less than $50,000?
A whole lot less. So
by a fraction of it.
A fraction of the cost.
Small fraction.
A small fraction. If you have solid planning without supercharged estate tax planning, it's going to be about $5,000 to really get a good living trust. Now, I know you can get the ones online for, I don't know, there's some guy on TV, $199 or something like that. I said, that's like using Drano. Now, a plumber will tell you, never use Drano on your pipes. And I have this beautiful long hair and I clog up pipes. I have to call this stupid plumber and pay him, 10 times more than a bottle of Drano. But if I use that Drano, it's going to eat up my pipes and put a hole, and it's going to cost me who knows how much to fix that hole that Drano put in my pipes. The same thing can happen with your trust, and you won't know until you're dead that trust wasn't written correctly. It failed, and 80% of trusts end up in probate court. Probate court is not just people who die without trust. They're people who die with trust, and they're not funded. You talked about funding. Well, what is funding? A trust works like a wagon. So I always use this illustration because I get lots of calls and people call and say, I want to put my stuff in my wagon. Their house is in their name. They have a living trust. It works like a wagon. If my toys are in my wagon and my instructions on the handle to whoever can pull the wagon, so it can be me. When I die, it's going to be somebody other than me. They have instructions. It only controls the stuff that's in the wagon. If my house is outside the wagon and I've got an empty wagon, that trust is useless. It's good.
It serves as a great paperweight or something to fill your bookshelf.
Yeah. And some of the ones online have really pretty notebooks, but they fill up your bookshelf and there's nothing in it. So then you die and you go, my mom and dad have a living trust, and they come in with their living trust and I pull title and it says it's in your mom and dad's name. I'm going to have to go to court to put that trust, that house into your trust. And that may not be a full probate and that $23,000, but right now I have a policy. My basic living trust is about $5,000. I'm going to charge you double if you didn't do a living trust to go to court. I'm going to charge you $10,000 to go to court to get the living trust in because it's a pain in the butt.
So, and I'm going to share with you as well. I'm guessing probably half or more of the people that refinance their house, the properties are taken out of the trust because it saves $250 for have a trust review. And then when you finish the refinance, it doesn't get put back in the trust again.
That happens all the time. And then I get that call. And guess when I get the call, not realtors who are smart as you, but realtors who are new in the business. They sell the house because they see the living trust and they never pulled title. And now everybody wants to close escrow, and the title companies, they seem to pull title like a week before the close of escrow. And oh my gosh, and they think that like on TV, I can run into the judge and say, hey, judge, put this house into the trust. Orange
6
County,
to 12 months.
Orange County, it's about 4 months. LA is a little bit faster. They're getting these petitions heard in about 12 weeks. So that's still 3 months. So it's not as bad as it used to be. 4 or 5 months though in Orange County, because we had to move the probate court out of Santa Ana to Costa Mesa because they're having to get rid of the asbestos in the courthouse.
So, and they didn't have the extra space anyway. So the bottom line is you're dealing with a lot of extra money, a lot of extra headaches, all because you wanted to save a couple of bucks at the beginning. Yeah. We're going to talk more with Martha Jo Patterson, attorney, elderlawmom.com. I love that website.
Yeah, and that's because I help elderly families. I help people with their elderly parents and their disabled kids, and I'm a mom, so I'm the elder law mom.
Fits perfect. Elderlawmom.com. You can reach me anytime. Off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, RonSiegelRadio.com. We're going to continue our conversation. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily Home and Finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule an appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. Are you tired of being in debt? Are you tired of sleepless nights? Are you saying, well, I've got that 3% mortgage, there's nothing I can do about it? Well, that's hogwash. It's just because you've never been educated. Probably the biggest thing that's hurting people right now is that 3% mortgage. rsr3pctloan.com, rsr3pctloan.com. We're going to go through and we're going to do an analysis of what your household blended interest rate is. We look at the weighting of your mortgage and all of your household debts. Then we come up with a blended rate. And we say, okay, what's the blended rate? What is your total payment? What if we put this all into a restructured loan? And what would that look like? Now, yeah, you might be going from a 3% mortgage to a 6% mortgage, but your payment might drop $1,000 or $2,000 a month. And then you apply that savings to the mortgage because you got rid of all those debts, and you're going to pay off your loan in probably 10 years less time. Now, if you don't have equity in your property, we've got a solution there also. Give us a call at 800-306-1990. Let's chat. Don't like seeing people that are stressed. and finance is a big stress. That's your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com. rsrdebtfree.com. Continue our conversation this morning. We are talking to Martha Jo Patterson, elder law attorney. And, it's one of those things that there's so many problems out there right now. And one of the things that drives me bananas, and I share whenever I can, is all these scams out there taking advantage of our seniors. And it's because our seniors are vulnerable. Many of us don't, I'm not quite to the senior yet. Many don't understand all the technology that's going on. In fact, I'm wondering right now, I just saw recently that the state of California is talking about getting rid of land telephone lines. I wonder how many seniors still have landlines. And I wonder if those phones that are given to seniors for free that have the big digital displays and automatically transcribe, I wonder if they need a landline. Just throw that out there for you. But we've been talking about living trusts. We've been talking about probate, and the fact that the probate is so much more expensive, so much more dangerous. So Martha Jo, how many folks are you seeing really people where the parents have a property free and clear, they give it to the kids, and now the parent's homeless?
Yeah, I got 5 calls in the last month, and I'm going, what's going on? That's part of when I saw, that you had an opportunity to come on the show. I'm going, wait a second. Somebody out there is telling people, add your kids onto the property. Then the kid goes bankrupt, and the bankrupt judge says, I want that property. Or you give the house to your kids and they're kicking you out. And they're doing it all the time because there's no protection just because you're a senior. There's no protection because you have dementia. People think that when a person's diagnosed with dementia, suddenly, magically, they can't sign a contract. That's not true. The probate code says that you are presumed competent. So my husband, when he had dementia and he couldn't recognize his own son and his own daughter, and probably didn't recognize me, although he pretended to, he was presumed competent. If he had signed over, he couldn't have given away our house because I had protected it. If he had signed a contract for a scammer, I would have had to prove, the presumption is rebuttable, I would have had to prove that he wasn't competent, not that he was presumed competent to sign that contract. It's a presumption. You have to overcome it, which means I have to prove he's not competent. Guess what you lose last when you have dementia? You lose last your ability to say your name, address, and social security number because you've known them for a very long time, and you lose your oldest information last.
So let me ask you this question then, because you brought this up in the prior segments. So Jay Leno, you mentioned, and his wife, it's been publicized that she's got cognitive issues.
Right.
And you said that he has to go to court to prove that she's to put their property in trust.
Right, because he waited to the point. Now, I haven't met Mavis Leno, but I met people like Mavis, and I'm guessing that she's gotten to the point where she doesn't recognize Jay anymore, and she can't sign her name. And she can't even say her name, address, and phone number. And all of a sudden, he wakes up one day and he goes, oh my, we have no children. That's in the public record. We have no children. What's going to happen if I die to our estate? We have nothing. We have no estate plan. We didn't think about doing that. We have all these attorneys, and none of them said, hey, what happens if you die, Jay? So he's having to go to court. He's having to put her under a conservatorship and then go to court as her conservator to establish their legal trust because she can't sign her name anymore. Doesn't matter that he's her husband of, I think they've been married 50 years, 40 years, something.
Yeah,
long
time.
Yeah. I don't.
Unusual in Hollywood, but a very, very long time.
Very long time. So they're a long time marriage. It doesn't matter because just because your spouse doesn't mean you can sign your spouse's name to, legal documents. Your spouse has to. So she has totally lost her capacity to do anything. And the doctors are saying, hey, she doesn't have it. It's obvious nobody's going to let her sign her name anymore. So now we have to go to court. And that's expensive. No matter who you are. It's probably more expensive for Jay Leno because he's got more money and the attorneys are going to charge him more because he's hiring the most expensive lawyers in town probably. But I don't know who's representing him.
He's fouled up all this time, so now he's just trying to cover the bases because, when you have to pay the bill when you've been neglectful.
Yeah,
negligent.
so now he has to pay the bill. He neglected to plan. He just didn't plan. He didn't plan. Brian Wilson, I think that his wife thought she was going to that she was going to outlive him, and now he's been apparently allegedly incompetent for a long time. They're having to go to court because his wife, who was taking care of all of his affairs, she died. Wife's caregivers die first all the time. People always think the person without dementia is going to outlive.
You can live a long time with dementia.
You can live a long time, and you're just happily going along, not worrying about life. So you outlive the caregiver who's worried about everything, because worry kills people.
Sure, that's stress. Absolutely. So the idea there is to not go through the probate, put the property into some sort of into a trust.
Right.
Now the trust can also, you can set, let me throw this at you because I think I know the answer, but you're the attorney.
Right.
The trust has a power of attorney for finance, a power of attorney for medical care. If I've got a power of attorney for finance and then I pass, what happens to my finance power of attorney?
It dies.
It dies too.
So on the day you die, your power of attorney dies with you. So if you have a power of attorney to handle your parents' bank accounts, right when they're alive, on the day they die, you can no longer take care of them because they're dead. It is personal. So they're dead. The power of attorney dies with you. So now you can't pay for the funeral because power of attorney, it died, and you can't write checks because you no longer have a job.
So should I put myself on their bank account before they pass?
Well, I add you to my bank account, Ron, so now you're on my bank account. When I pass, you get all my money. It doesn't matter if you're not even related to me. I just gave you all my money.
So how do I plan for final expenses if in the situation with the trust?
So with a living trust, so power of attorney and a trust are two very different things. So trust, it's our wagon. It holds all of our property. When we die, a new person just takes over. And if we are really smart, what we do is we have somebody walking alongside us controlling our wagon. So we die, there's no waiting period at all. We have somebody walking alongside. That's what I'm encouraging everybody to get, that person walking alongside them as they age.
So I walk into the bank with a copy of the trust and say, X died. Here's the trust. I'm the successor trustee, and then I get just to step into their shoes.
If you're the name, yeah, you just have to have the death certificate. So that's really easy.
So you got to wait for the death certificate to come.
So, so there's an advantage to living trust, something that I'm recommending. So first of all, you want to avoid the probate when you die.
I want to avoid the death.
And a death, yeah. Well, we all want to avoid. But you also want to, during your lifetime, if you are starting to lose it, you're falling for every scam in the book, you might want somebody to manage your property for you. A trustee has a fiduciary duty to take care of you. A power of attorney does not.
Ah, okay.
So, A, you want that fiduciary duty. B, you can have your kids managing but not owning your property. So if I just put my kid on the bank account, if I put Ron on my bank account, he now owns my money. That bank account is now his money and my money. That means he can steal it. That means when I die, if I have multiple kids and I put one kid, my kid who is taking care of me and doing everything, and they're on all my bank accounts, when I die, all of the money just goes automatically to them. And there's nothing the other kids can do about it. So sorry, tough luck.
Bottom line, get legal advice early. That way you're taken care of and you're protected. And, I'll share this with you. A friend of mine, I always get this wrong, but if you think that ignorance is expensive, if you think that education is expensive, going and hiring an attorney, try ignorance. It might be even more expensive. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it. If you want more information, if you want to reach out to Martha Jo Patterson, elderlawmom.com, elderlawmom.com. And as always, we set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Getting paid by the hour.